Do it.
I think we might be live now.
Sir.
I think so. What up? Heyo. That's what it is. I'm all out of sorts. There's no music.
I know it.
All right, so let me see. I'm trying to pull up the YouTubes and refresh. There we go. Yeah, we're live. Hell yeah. All right.
Sweet.
We didn't have an intro prepared in time. So we're just going, this is just cold start.
I see who is that?
Jumping right in.
Alex Carney, first one, Bush. You got some Bush, Nate?
Yeah. Lattes.
Show us the
Come on
Bush.
now.
When we see that Bush.
It's usually a 2-nighter. It's usually how I get ready for the
Double
show.
fist and
There we go.
Like that one at GIE was about that big, wasn't it?
isn't that funny? So dude, like I've been like a few weeks, I've like thought, man, I need to find that video of you dancing. Like I wanted to post it and kind of fuck with you and like put some funny music behind it. And I didn't have it on my phone, but like I had it like in my my cloud. And I found all of them, and then that's when I put that shit together that one morning.
That was pretty awesome.
That was pretty good. I remember after that video came out before, and like I remember several people like, "Oh, you're drunk." I'm like, "No, dude, it's just good music, just having fun." Yeah, I was like,
hell yeah.
having fun. It was just a good night.
We
He's like, "No, that's just how I dance, man. I'm not drunk yet."
No.
That was definitely the end of the night though, because there was like before there was people all around there, like it was like a mosh pit, like, and so you could tell there was like some space, so you could tell it was the end of the night.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time, good night. So,
Laundry
Yeah,
asks if this is an episode where we learn about curvy stripes.
Oh shit!
Whoa, that's right.
Boo, boo.
Ole
I'm looking
started
for
that.
the best. I'm looking for the best comment. We're gonna send them a gallon of.
Oh, look
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
best
yeah.
jug comment.
No,
big
the
joke.
best Kirby stripe comment. You know, I've got my new Stripe Life shirt on. You know, all the
Yeah.
other ones down at the bottom say "keep it straight, keep them straight." This one says "keep them curvy."
Let's see it.
Curvy.
Let's see it. Let's see what it says. Let's see
It
it.
says "keep them curvy."
You should have put some duct tape over it.
I was gonna get some masking tape and write it on there myself. Keep
That's
them
funny.
curvy.
Well, yeah, guys, this is episode 81. Welcome, everybody. We got
81.
or no, sorry, 87.
So you guys just told me it was 87 when I was making the title.
Hold on. All right, so we're all the way up to episode 87 tonight, boys. And tonight we are shining a spotlight, so to speak, on Mr. Stripe Life himself. So let's get into it, guys. Let's all grab a glass and keep off the grass.
Cheers.
If you stripe it, they will come.
It's a good way to start it right there at the old bush lights.
Yeah.
Well,
But
Nate, how did it all start? Let's go from the beginning here. Now, did you mow the lawn as a kid? How did you get into the lawn? We're talking like early stages. You know, what was your first experience with the lawn?
Yeah, I didn't really mow much as a kid. I mean, really, I was, I'd say I was busy in activities. I played, several sports growing up, so I was always kind of on the go. And then as I got older, I started working in my free time. So between work and sports and school and everything, I was just always busy. So it wasn't never a thing of like I grew up mowing the lawns or anything like that. Yes, I mowed the grass, but it wasn't like I enjoyed it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't anything like that. That's definitely not where like the passion came from at all. But I would say it really sparked from getting my first home. So when I purchased my first house, I just had like a little $100 Craftsman mower. And then as you have your first home, you start getting into things. That's lawn of the week.
Is that your first home?
No, that's lawn of the week.
That's a lot of the week.
That was last week's lawn of the week. So just as you start getting
Good
into
looking
like
lawn, though.
as you start getting into like your own house, you want to make it better and you want to make it look good. And that's when I kind of just got into like mowing. And then so then I got like I don't know, like a Husky riding lawnmower, and then like kind of upgraded. Then I finally, like after a couple of years, I ended up getting a walker. And then that's when I really started getting into like stripes and, trying to like make everything perfect and checkers and diamonds and all
So
that
were you
stuff.
so when did you like first lay your first application of fertilizer?
So when I lived in my first home, I just had someone come spray my lawn and do my lawn for me, because I had like a half acre and he only charged me like $35. And
That's not bad.
So that's my second house.
Okay, we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
So your first home.
So my
you
first
had
home, I had
spraying.
someone do it, and I was just, I really was getting into it. It was more about mowing at that point. But at the same time, like I was working through him with him. I'd be like, hey, I want this, or can you do this, or and that's when I started like iterating in the fall and kind of getting all that stuff. But still, it was like through someone. And then so I bought my first house in 08, and then in 16 is when I moved to Dubuque, which is the house you just showed. And then even at that point, I was kind of in the Menards for a little, but at the same time, I was still having a service come out, because when I moved in, yeah, so that was my second house right there. So when I
Nice
moved into
house.
this house,
Sweet stripes.
there was already like, from the previous owners, they'd bought like the whole year. And so then on top of that, I was just kind of supplementing in between. And this
So were you
is
mowing with
when
the stripe kit?
yeah. So this is when I was at this house is when I bought my Meister and I bought my stripe kit. And this is like when I
Nice.
really started this is when I started like learning more. And, like for me, it was Ryan Knorr. Being in Iowa, I kind of latched onto his videos and just similar climate, similar timing and everything. So I started watching his, and that's when I started getting into more of the knowledge of everything and learning and taking stuff over myself. So the first year I was here, it was all like a service. And then I slowly transitioned into myself doing everything like with the Menards. It was all granular, everything from Menards, just doing the big box store stuff. And, as I look back on it, I thought it was awesome. And then you look back on it, you're like, and I mean, I worked nights. And so I would get off at like 2:00 in the morning, and then I would sit out with a buddy and drink a beer in the lawn, and I'd water the lawn at like 3:00 in the morning. And I thought I was doing, everything right,
Yeah.
Then now I learned, I'm like, oh, that was probably the dumbest thing I was doing right there, was always watering in the middle of the night, But yeah, I mean, I look back on it and it was nice and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed the lawn. It was a small lawn. That house, it was a bigger house on a smaller lot. Not much to the lawn, but I
It's cool
enjoyed
how
keeping
that
it
little
up.
like what do you call that? Bricks there. What do you call
The
that?
retaining
A fucking
wall.
retaining wall. Yeah. Retaining wall. Yeah, that's kind of cool how that is.
Yeah, and I would actually like, you can't see it from this angle, but it looked like it went right through the retaining wall, because I would stripe down to it, turn around, and then on the bottom I'd stripe up to it.
That's cool. That'd be
So
sweet to see.
yeah, so when you drove down the road, it looked like that. So
That'd be a fun
But
way
shot.
to come
Really
home
try to
every
be
day
trippy with that.
during the growing season. Yeah. Just go like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
there she is.
That retaining wall would have been ideal for curvy stripes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow that.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I never did though. But I will say, like, it was right in the middle of the yard. So it was like, when I try and do the diamonds or whatever, it just, that whole area
That does
right
kind of
there
make it
just-
tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's like not just a mulch bed. It's like two levels, and it's got grass inside of it too. Like that makes it tough to go
Yep.
through that, and especially if you're going the other direction, because
yeah.
you have to pass through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the backyard is just a basic little square. So I just did nothing fancy, just, stripes back there.
Yeah.
But I would say that's
So
when
was
I really started getting into things and starting to learn. And I knew, like, and actually, like, at this point, when we looked for my current house, when we went house hunting, that was like a big thing for me. It was like the yard and the property is going to have to be like something that I want, And
Enjoyable. Yeah. That makes
yeah,
total sense.
we'd actually looked at a couple different houses, and I would say the house we liked better. but the yard was just not desirable at all. And it was just like, nope, like I'm not dealing with that. It was really, really, really small, or like just, shared a backyard, like 6 different neighbors and stuff. And so, then we found this property and moved in here in 09. And then that's when I decided, like, I'm going to do 100% DIY. And that's, like I said, at that point, started gaining more knowledge and learning more and watching more and just starting to have more confidence in doing everything myself. And then since we've been here, I've done everything myself to this lawn.
So when did you move
ever,
into the place you're at now? When was that?
2000. So Thanksgiving of 2019.
Okay.
But actually, honestly, like my first lawn, Zach, I'd sent you a picture of the backyard with like a deck and
You did?
everything. Yeah, it's actually really green. That lawn was really like a really, really nice lawn. But like I said, it wasn't anything I was doing because I was just mowing it. But like that lawn, like compared to the neighborhood, that was one where I remember like getting on like Google Satellite, Google Earth, and you could see like the stripes from Google Earth. And that's when I was just like addicted to it, you know what I mean? And stuff. So, but so that's my first yard right there.
Yeah, that's good. It's dark. Yeah.
Yeah,
You were mowing with the walker there, right? If I
yeah,
remember.
that's a walker.
So
Can't remember what size deck it was.
that's well, I'll say they're not that straight.
And knock it off.
That is what she said.
Yeah, so that's probably like I mean that's probably 10 years ago right there.
No, those are some. You can tell you're using every inch of your deck there for sure.
Yeah.
So like this nice fat stripes.
But
Mhm.
and you can kind of see
Tell
like
the walker with the middle 2
Yep.
lines. Yep.
Yep, and it's an old school walker. So my dad, you guys have seen, I've posted some pictures of my dad's, and he has that mower right there. That's what he mows with at his house.
Yeah, your dad's lawn's freaking
Yeah.
looking sweet.
But yeah, so at this point, this is like I said, this is what kicked it off. This yard was just everything. Like I was trying to, make it look nice. And at this point, I would purposely figure out how to mow stripes. So like the neighbors had to look at them, or when I drove by, I could see them and stuff like that.
That's a domination line right there.
Yeah, that's a garden over there
Savage.
to the right. But in the back, yeah, there's definitely
You're like mowing straight at them too, like those lines are just like, you're
That's
calling
big.
them out right there, man.
When the sun's popping, that's a big FU right there.
But yeah, so that was my very, very first one. And like I said, second one, small yard. I bought the Time Master, and the only reason I bought the Time Master was just because I wanted like wider stripes. Because when I moved to that house, it was just like I think I just kept my push mower and was just push mowing it, and it wasn't striping, and I wasn't happy with it. So I got the Time Master.
I can see that Time Master like that. It makes me want to get a new push mower with this striping kit I got now. Because my push mower, it's old, doesn't work very well. If I want a side discharge, I literally prop it up with cardboard, and but when you push mow stripes, it is different than riding them. But I do like riding my stripes better. But
actually, I was talking to my dad. So my dad has 2 walker
That's what
mowers.
she said.
He's got 2 different walkers. One is like, it's my old mower, and it's got, I don't know if you've seen walkers. Some of them have like the back is really, really long. It's actually got like a dump box on it. So he has that, but then he's got another one that's more like your traditional
box on the back.
Your traditional like kind of 0-turn mower. And but I was actually just talking to him like yesterday, the day before, and I asked him to like, hey, like if you're gonna make it down this fall, I want you to bring the mower down, because I want to just run it through the yard just to see
that'd be sweet.
what it looks like, how it feels, and all that. Just to just for the heck of it, I want to see how it mows on my yard.
I do see those walkers that like. So when you're saying it shoots out the back, like it literally like just like shoots shit out the ass, like all the clippings, right?
Not this one. This one goes out. Yeah, the one I got goes out the side, but they're like more like a 3-point, like a 3-wheeler in a way. It's got like 2 in the front and in the back middle. It's really long, almost kind of like similar to like
it's a front
grasshopper.
It's a front deck.
But
yeah, okay.
Like literally the back of it, like behind you, is like it's like almost like a dump truck where you can throw sticks and all that stuff, and you can back up and you can lift it up and just dump it and put it back down. they're different. They look like, when you see them, they look like very different. They look kind of old, but it mowed great. And I think they're more of a commercial style mower versus residential. So,
Sweet.
you know, yeah. So then we moved in here.
When did you pull your first soil test?
Here? Yeah, like I said,
How's
when I
that
was in,
now?
yeah. So I've only done, so the first year we moved in November of 19. So then the first one would have been, I didn't do one in March of 20, because at that point, like I was gonna do, like I was committed to doing DIY, but I was still kind of learning, and I would say like I was still on that like, I don't need a soil test mentality of like, just I was still kind of in that follow the 5-step kind of program.
Sure.
Buying from Menards, just doing everything that way, and just kind of, wanted to do it myself and still learning along the way. And then like I said, then as I got into it more and more in like 2020, that's when, I really got into it. And then, like I said, probably the biggest thing was like the Simple Lawn Solutions lawn contest. Doing that's what really, I would say, like kick-started the huge like push to get into it even more. Because at that point, like I had recently started my lawn account, and just,
Yeah, I saw you posted in July of 2020.
yeah.
So
And
that was like that first summer at your new place.
Yep.
That's cool.
And most of it was the same as anyone else. All I was posting on my normal account, even my Facebook, all I was posting was just lawn stuff.
Right.
And so then it was just kind of like, I bet everyone's getting sick of this. And so I started, and it was like, I just happened to take a picture and send to my buddy on Snapchat, and I just put Stripe Life on it. And then somehow I was like, oh, like I should use that for a name. And so that's literally how it started, was just, I said it one time and that's it. And then started getting into everything, really trying to push it. And then in the fall of 20 and 21 did Overseed. Basically tore up the whole lawn, dethatched real heavy, aerated real heavy, put down Kentucky Blue and Rye mix from Mountain View.
Do you know what the lawn was previously? Was it sodded, or do you know it was seeded?
I don't. Like I said, I'm not positive what it was. But I know like my hill, they had said that like it was all like overgrown, and the guy had like burned it all off, and then just put seed down, put a whole bunch of seed down. Actually, I'll fully admit that the hill actually looked pretty good when I moved in, but I don't keep it up as much. And it's just, I don't know, it's a pain in the ass. I don't like mowing it. So I let it grow.
So that's your property from where you're standing down?
Yeah. So that's like at the top of the hill. Like if I would turn around, the golf course is like to my back.
Mm.
And then to my left, there's like a fire pit. It's flat up there. Probably, I don't know, like probably 6 or 7 wide mower passes at the top. And
So that
then
goes way
stairs.
up there, man. You mow all the way up that high with the mower?
Yeah, I go horizontally back and forth. So I go up the
okay.
side.
That's
I go up the
smart.
side. I go up the side, then go across, and then just go down one side, back and forth on one side. And then like to the left of the stairs, that little, you can see there's like a path or enough room for a mower. So I'll come up the stairs right there, and then I'll go back and forth the other way. It sucks. Like,
do you mow that every mow when you mow? Or do you mow like every two?
Not a chance. Like this year, I purposely like tried doing it the least amount of possible, and I probably mowed it less than 10 times this year. So, like obviously, and it didn't grow much in the summer, which thankfully it didn't. But
Right, with the shade and stuff,
yeah. But I don't put any fertilizer on it. The only thing I do is I'll walk with my backpack and spray for weeds, because both my neighbors on each side, their hills are like completely overgrown, and they just let it go, and it's full of weeds, and those weeds creep in. So, but
looks good, but yeah, definitely a lot of extra work and time each time you cut it, for sure.
Well, there's a ton of trees. I mean, obviously you can tell.
Yeah.
So like, so it's not like below, it's just you're mowing, and the hill is the same size as my lower part, but you have all those trees and you're on a huge slope. And so
Right.
it's like, I mean, it takes over an hour just to do the hill. And like when it's July and it's 100 degrees, like I'm exhausted.
Oh, no doubt. Mm.
But you can like when I do that, I definitely wear my football cleats. Because like the first time I did it, it was like I was trying to figure out how to mow it, and it was so steep, and I like slipped once, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose my leg or something. So yeah, I wear my football cleats and mow it horizontally, but least amount as possible. Like I said, the only thing it's good for is sledding in the winter, and then big old slip and slide. Zach, you have that one too.
It gives you privacy too,
Yeah.
I guess. There's a golf course, and then you'll never hear anybody or see anybody coming down there too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
So
nice.
like when we're sitting in the back, or even when you're out there, you can hear like them teeing off. So, but yeah, so that was my daughter's 5th birthday party.
That's wild.
We ran a sprinkler all the way to the top, had soap and all that stuff. And
So where'd you get all that tarp? Like,
so my dad,
Yeah, that's a huge tarp.
so my dad had found a couple pieces, and then I can't remember if he got it all or not, but I know like some of my neighbors across the street, they own a flooring company, and I was talking with them, like trying to get, like huge rolls of like painters, plastic and stuff like that. There were so many different options we were trying to do. But yeah, we like where my stepmom is standing there, that's about how far we went.
So where did you get it from?
My dad had it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
that's wide too.
Yeah, it was like the whole thing we measured was like
That's what she said.
it was like 250 feet is what it was. So
Anybody get any road rash?
we were definitely sore the next day. It was funny because like I said, it was for my daughter's 5th birthday. So like where the black and the clear meet, like that's kind of where all the kids were going. A couple of them would come up a little bit more, but I think 1 or 2 of them, they went off the side. Not in the trees, but like towards the bottom. But then like the adults started getting after it, and like we were running and like diving down it and flying down it. So
you have like a hose dragged all the way up there.
Yeah, you can actually see it on the left side there, right? Coming up.
Right there.
Yeah,
That's a long
So I
hose.
pull the hose all the way up there. Got to pull hose, but
Yeah,
I just ran my sprinkler at the top of it and let it run down.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, it was a good time. But actually, it didn't really do much damage to the lawn at all. But that was in July. So I mean, at that point, in Iowa, your lawn's checking out for the year.
Still striping though.
Yeah, I would think that would do some major damage. Like I know playing out with my daughter this summer in the lawn.
I was concerned. I was
If
definitely
you were
concerned.
to leave it for a day or two, you'd have a mess.
Yeah, and it was in the afternoon, so it was in there basically all day. But pulled it off and raked it all up, to get the grass stood up. And but yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
One hose since 1988.
I think it looks cool like this.
Yeah.
It looks like you freshly mowed the hill, and then you also went up the hill a little bit with the stripes. I know a lot of people request that you go all the way up, but
not happening.
that looks cool. That little like bent,
the windy kind of
stripe.
So you can see like where the line is, like kind of where I mow that bottom tree. That's usually where I mow up to. So, but lately what I've been doing is I just come to the bottom of the stairs, and that's kind of and then the hill I just don't worry about too much. Actually, my hill, like this year, it looks like crap because I had a whole bunch of weeds, so I sprayed. I tried killing off my stairs because I hate like trimming them. Like I literally have to trim my stairs like every other week just to keep them maintained and stuff. So I tried killing them off, and I don't know what I mixed, but there must have been something in my sprayer because it completely wiped it out. And I sprayed like around the stairs, and it nuked it bad. And so that whole area, like around that bird bath up there, that whole area is on both sides is pretty much dead. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that double dark single light.
That one looked out pretty cool. And then obviously the swing set this year, just got rid of the swing set. So now working on trying to get that to fill in. It's actually doing really well. I think it's gonna look really, really good. But like yesterday we were out there in the backyard, or Sunday we were out in the backyard, playing football in the whole backyard. It's like a perfect shape for throwing the football and running around back there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. Is it pretty flat right there? Like other
Yeah.
than the hill, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, but like it's pretty flat.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, basically then you get to the hill, and like I said, just it's steep. Like I don't think people, like everyone that comes over, they're like, "Whoa, I didn't realize your hill was that steep." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's legit steep. It's not a little baby hill." And everyone's like, "Well, why don't you just mow it up and down, or why don't you, whatever?" It's like, nah, that thing's
Yeah,
brutal.
that does look steep from that angle. I mean, even this angle, like it's like fuck.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can tell. But
Yeah,
like so like right behind where you're right there, right behind, I have a huge wood pile that we use for the fire pit and everything. So like the other night when we're just sitting on the back patio having a little fire pit, we got to run up those stairs all the way to the top, grab like 5 or 6 pieces of wood, and go all the way back down. So
Get your cardio in.
yeah, I think there's like, I can't remember, I counted
And
them
that's how you lose your buzz.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
that's what you go up early, and everyone grabs a few pieces of wood and then just set them down on the bottom.
handle your wood.
But yeah.
Hell
But no,
yeah.
like I said, I would say, the first time I used anything that was non-box store would have been in 2020, Simple Lawn. Like I said, the only reason I went with them was because I saw Ryan Knorr using them. And so I had actually bought, I think it was like in July or even maybe August, my lawn was pretty much shot. Actually, it was probably shortly after that picture there with the slip and slide. But I bought the iron, the lawn energizer, and the soil hume, and put those down. And I noticed like a real good recovery. Yeah, you can see my hill in the back there, how it's like there's some spots there.
Is that this
Yeah.
year? Is that this
That's
year?
this year. Yeah, that's this year.
I can
You
tell
can
by
see,
the border. You got that little like border going on. Your landscaping.
yeah, we did that this spring. But you can see the spots on the hill that I mean, there was heavy weed pressure, and I wasn't anticipating it doing that. Like I said, I must have had something residual in the little 1 gallon pump sprayer. It wasn't Roundup, so I don't know what it was, but whatever was in there did not play well, and it completely nuked it. Actually, it worked better than Roundup, honestly, whatever was in there. So
Cool. When are you gonna get into the plant game? Get some plants in that landscape.
I know. So it was actually like we had talked about doing it, and then we just haven't decided what we want to put in there. But then as much as I don't have irrigation, and so running the hoses and everything, it's actually a lot of times I'll just kind of throw the hoses in the mulch or and do that, and I just let it sit there. Or like when I'm walking around the house, I don't want to walk in the yard, so I just walk through the mulch. And so it's like it's kind of funny. And actually, like my wife is like, she's like, I don't care, it looks fine the way it is. So, but we'll end up doing something. But
so was it this spring that you had? Yeah, there you go. They just put in this like a concrete kind of border around your mulch beds. I've always thought that looked really nice and clean, and I've been interested in doing that eventually at my place. How do you find mowing along that? Do you like it a lot more? Is it, what are your thoughts now that you've kind of had that for the season?
Yeah, I definitely like it a lot. The only thing I maybe would have thought about a little bit more is I wish I would have buried my eave spouts prior to doing it. I wish I would have done that. That would have been one thing that I would fully recommend to someone if they're going to go this route, is do that. But yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. Yeah, obviously, like after it was done, it took me a few mows to figure out kind of where to start again and like how to go, like where everything would end up. Cause like on the right side, it's more like it is a curvy, and so it doesn't line up perfectly. So I got to so now I mow around that to start with, and then I do my stripes, and then I end up cleaning up where it goes around it.
Yeah.
But then when I first started out, Yeah, so I don't know who it was.
Ooh,
Someone this summer, someone had nominated me in the town. They have like a best lawn of the month in the town, and someone had nominated me for it. And to total surprise, it wasn't my wife, she says, but I don't know if that's true. But yeah, they just showed up and they said, "Hey, like someone nominated you and your lawn of the month, and you can put the sign in your yard for the month." So it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
But
So back to that the edging,
Mhm.
that landscape edging. Do
Yeah.
you string trim that, or do you just mow right up to it and it gets it all?
so I do both. So I mow, like I literally put my left wheel, and ride it when I'm going
Mhm.
around it. And then probably, I don't know, maybe every other mow, I'll string trim it. And actually I just did it like, whenever I mowed Saturday or Sunday, and I string trimmed it. And when I do it, get a nice clean edge around it and leave like a nice, I don't know, probably 2-inch gap around it. I think it looks really, really, really sharp. But
Yes, that's the thing with my edging is I have like some bricks, and it's not really like so low to the ground, it's a little higher.
yeah,
And I can't get my mower close enough to get it all, so I have to string trim it. But
mhm.
so that's why like I always think about going to a live edge.
Yeah.
But this intrigues me a little bit, like doing something like this. But as far as like the maintenance go, I was just curious.
I like it because it sits up higher. And then I like it also because it sits at like a 45-degree angle. So it slopes, towards the lawn. And then, like I said, it's got texture to it. It's got like a couple different highlights and lowlights of color. But yeah, I'll go through and trim it, and then I just walk it with the blower and blow it all off and stuff when I'm done.
Yep, finish with it.
And we got some curvy chat going on. Curvy chat going
Ooh,
on.
yeah.
There once was a man named Nate. He thought his stripes were straight.
Shoved in the bush. KOTG gave him a push to go curve for a big figure eight.
Man, that might be the
That's
winner.
awesome.
That's pretty
awesome.
good.
That might be the winner.
That's pretty darn good.
I will say, so I was personally going to give something away tonight. So Olee, you can pick one.
I think I'm picking that one right there. That's pretty damn good.
But I don't know how we're going to do it because
Hit me up.
I was hoping Brian was going to be here, someone to do a wheel. I don't know if anyone can do a wheel, but I got something to give away if we can.
You
If
need
not-
to
not, I might
do a
just do it.
curve. You need to do like a bullseye or some shit and like
I
just
did.
freak everybody out.
I did a curve this year, and I mowed it actually for like a month, and I posted several pictures of it on my profile. I followed my front steps right there.
Let me
And
check
I
the
just-
Yeah, but
evidence.
you gotta do something like crazy curvy. That's just like that's like a slight curve. You need to do something like
it's a huge like half circle. And then it actually I'm gonna say this on record, it actually looked pretty cool because when I came like
clip
around
clip it.
Oh man.
when I came around to the side of my house, I actually it like lined up perfectly. So when I'd curve around, and then it would go straight into the side of the house where it, you know what I mean? So it looked like a big old like Nike swoosh on the side of the house.
You need to do something with bananas.
Get the hell
And then
out of here.
There's a song that says something about B-A-N-N.
God.
Man, I'm going all the way back to like episode 60, and I don't see any curvy stripes.
I did it this summer. I swear I did it this summer.
I'm gonna have to take a closer look.
They're in there. I posted them.
Probably
I'm
post
sure they
them on
look
the story.
fantastic.
I did a lot in the
Yeah.
story too. But
Roseanne's.
Oh, there you go. You
See?
took a picture of them in the dark. That's why I didn't see them there. It's in the dark. You would only take a picture of it at night.
I just couldn't.
Hey, so I will
didn't-
say in this picture, you are dominating your neighbor's hill,
Oh yeah.
even though it's not,
Even though my
even
hill's
though it's
not.
not fertilized and whatever. But like you can tell, that's a domination line. over the
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah. Actually, like
Yeah.
what's
Smoking off the
crazy.
weeds.
What's
difference.
crazy is like the neighbor's yard back in that corner. Like the shade and everything, that corner for them will get really super dark. And like both of us, when it rains, you get the runoff from the hill. So the bottom of the hill, like where it, kind of flattens out. There's a lot of times where I'll mow the front, and I'll get to like maybe 3/4 of the backyard, and I have to stop just because you can't. I mean, it's so damp back there that you can't mow it. But there's actually in like it's cut off, but in the right corner, in the neighbor's yard, they have like a drain, a French drain that runs through their yard. So,
Man,
what?
813 King said a while ago, if he was your neighbor, he'd sneak over there and fertilize that hill just
My one neighbor, they said like, yeah, we saw you mow that, and they're like, hell no, we're never mowing our hill. So, but yeah, I mean,
sneak out there and spray it with some ammonium sulfate.
So they don't even mow their hill at all.
Nothing. I'll have to send you
I
guys
guess
a
it would just
picture.
kind of turn into like a. I mean, I guess if you don't go up there and you just
pollinator paradise.
like if you had like a path, like one path that you mowed, like for like a walking distance, that'd kind of be cool. But
There's actually they have a fire pit up on theirs as well. They have like a landing and a fire pit and everything. They just don't use it. So previous
Is that
owners.
dandelions all out there? What's all the
That might
white
be-
specks?
That's probably anything. That's probably dandelions. Yeah.
Man,
Like I
that
said, I get a ton of weed. I get a ton of weed pressure coming
Mhm.
over. So, but you can see how dark. Look how dark like their corner of their lawn is. They have a really whatever grass they have. It's very dark green. Mine's almost like a lighter, bluegrass kind of, that different kind of bluegrass green. Theirs is a very dark like green.
yeah, it looks like they're not mowed either. That always makes it look a little darker.
Correct. But like, I mean, honestly, like our backyards, like when we mow them, mine's a much lighter kind of color, and theirs is darker. So it's just obviously it's the cultivar of what it is. So that
Right,
was
So you overseeded with 365 SS last fall, right? Isn't that what you used on your place? And you're using that again now in the sports fields, right? Isn't this you were helping them out? Was it the softball fields or did it end up being like the soccer fields, or what kind of field was it?
Yeah. So mine is actually 365 and perennial rye, a mix from Mountain View. I used Grand Slam is what I used, but then I recently bought some different rye that I just got in my garage from Mountain View as well. But no, for the
When did you first
field,
overseed? When was your first time you overseeded this lawn?
fall of 20, and I used
What's your seed superstore?
Seed Superstore, and it was the mix. It was all Kentucky Blue. I'm trying to think what the hell it was called. It was one of the like S5000 or 5500.
9000.
It wasn't 9000. I think it was 55, but it was like Midnight, Mazama, and maybe Blue Bank or something. It was like, three really, really, really good ones. But it was I mean, it was good stuff. And I think that was like when I really, really hit it hard. And then, like I said, then I did the rye and the 365. And then this year I did rye and 365 again. I wasn't planning on overseeding at all this year, but I had some spots that I wanted to work on. And then when I took the swing set out, obviously that kind of encouraged me to, I kind of had to, I felt like I didn't want to have just like one spot. So I wanted to kind of make sure it blended in.
Yeah.
But you can see in this picture, Zach, you can kind of see like the front yard, how it's like there's diagonal stripes there. So a lot of times I will do like the front yard, just the front yard, like a different pattern. I might do like a checkerboard in there or diagonal stripes in there, and then just on the sides, just kind of more traditional stripes and stuff. But
yeah, that's pretty cool. I do the same thing.
So, but yeah, so the high school, like I said, I kind of talked about it before, but with the high school, I did the softball field, and that was essentially a full renovation with dethatching, aerating, doing it, seed, and then have actually got several companies that I've worked with for my personal lawn. I've talked with them, and they're on board to help out with the fields. And actually, we're going to get some like banners made up and put them on the field at the high school and kind of say like this field is like sponsored by, or the products used on this field, and have some of the products on a banner and put them on the fences of the softball field. So that's gonna be kind of cool. But and then we actually end up I had extra seed. I didn't have enough to do both fields, but we did the baseball field, we did the whole infield, and then like the sides and everything. Probably we didn't get the outfield, but we got a lot of it done. So, but yeah.
Sweet. Have you checked on it lately?
Yeah, I posted a picture Saturday of the softball field in my story. I had went out there. I don't know. I was doing something. And I just ran out there real quick just to see it, and went out on the field and took a picture of it. It's crazy, the bluegrass. Just how long it takes. It's. I mean, even in I did my personal lawn. The very next day, and like some spots in mine I can see it. It's just like, come on, and same thing out there. So it's coming. I may overseed it in the spring with rye as well. Maybe like try and get it like early April or even like late March to try and get that for the season. So we'll see. It's 25,000 square foot is what the outfield of the softball field is. So, but now for the softball field, we've put some, put an application of Propede on it already. Put some Simple On Solutions growth booster on it. And I put some Turf Titan on there as well. So kind of all three getting that thing going. So
you know what their water schedule's been like how they do their irrigation.
Yep. So that's kind of whatever I tell them to do. And so, as soon as we overseeded, I said, hey, do 8, noon, and 4 for 10 minutes per zone. And then actually I just talked to the coach after Saturday when I went and looked at it, and I said, all right, switch it up to, which our temperatures right now are amazing. Mm-hmm. So I said, just switch it up to either like Monday, Thursday, or like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just to run it, in the morning to run it. So then like
does the coach pretty much run the field?
So I work with the coach and like kind of the field. I don't know what his position is. Kind of guy that takes care of the fields and all that stuff, the maintenance, I'd say, turf manager or whatever. But it was me and him out on a Saturday doing it and whatnot. But he's kind of all on board with helping, and his son's like the quarterback for the football team, so he's actively involved in the high school as well. And like I said, and the coach, she wants it to be, she's all on board. She's like, I want this thing to look awesome. So she's super pumped up to do it. And for me, it's kind of more just like a project that I want to see. I want to see it look even better. So that's my big inspiration there.
That's cool. Your knowledge and your kind of, connection with folks to help them out and, try to make it as successful as you can. Since they probably, rather than trying to hire somebody or figure out on their own, they have you as a good resource. So that's awesome, man. It's really cool. So,
and hopefully, like I said, my goal is, get it looking really good. And then, 10 years from now, and maybe my daughter will play on it. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of, the full circle of it, which is kind of the goal. So
that'd be cool.
But
you have to like periodically check in and help them like do another overseed every couple seasons or something too.
Yeah. And they're kind of, they're on board with kind of whatever we need to do. We'll do it and go from there. So I'm pumped for that one. Like I said, and I haven't even really, done a ton to it. But yeah, I mean, start maybe getting the backpack out there on like like before the season starts, or something like that, and go, maybe walk and do some iron or something like that, or some ammonium sulfate and spray, and I'll tell you that the ammonium sulfate and feature, mixing those two, I did that like 2 weeks ago, and that is money. So definitely have to do that before the season starts.
I don't know, man. Be careful. You keep helping them out. They could change the name to Strive Life Field or something down the road. You could have your stadium, named after you.
Definitely not.
So hey, how did the keep them straight start?
I don't know. It was probably just. I have no idea if it was Olee jacking around or who knows. But I mean, honestly, like I've always done like the straight stripes. That was last fall. I know that.
It seems like I was messing with you there for a while of hashtag keep them straight or something.
Yeah, I don't remember how it started exactly. I just know, like, I've always done kind of straight stripes.
That's not as fun as poking the bear with hashtag keep it curvy though.
It's not.
So I was busting your balls a little bit about being straight and everything, but or keeping your line straight, I'm saying.
Stripes.
But so how do you keep them straight?
Well, like I said, I learned that they may be straight, but they're not parallel worth a damn. So like there's an example like that picture. So you see the right side and you got the left side, but when I meet in the back by the swing set, they definitely do not line up, and they definitely come in like this. So I gotta like realign the one of the halves of my yards next spring.
So when you start mowing this side right here, are you mowing against the neighbor's first stripe, or what are you mowing?
Well, they don't stripe it, but yeah, I
mean, you're
so if you
mowing
go-
against.
So if you go back up, first thing I always do is my boulevard. I know it like looks, so you can tell in that picture. I always do my boulevard like not like the opposite of my yard, because it's 4 like equally even passes. And so it just like the mower fits perfectly right there.
Yeah.
And then in the boulevard, that's a mailbox. There's a mailbox there in the boulevard on the left. And then on the right in the boulevard, there's a fire hydrant. So basically I mow from the mailbox to the fire hydrant. And then on the left side, front left side, that's all the like cable box, the electrical box, the phone, all that stuff. So I got a ton of shit there to mow around and trim around.
So are you mulching, bagging, or discharging?
99% of the time I mulch.
Okay. So, because what I was thinking is, so if you discharge, does it go out the left
Right.
or the right? It goes out the right. Okay.
Yeah, but I always do my boulevard and I come over to the fire hydrant, and then I start on the sidewalk and I walk down the property towards my backyard. And then I cut across at the bottom of my hill. And then on the left side, I'm walking towards the sidewalk. And then from there, I either turn around and do stripes or side by side or whatever I want to do.
So is this an early spring picture where their lawns haven't woken up, or is this a summer picture where their lawns have all gone to sleep?
No, that's actually last like probably honestly like a year ago today. That's late.
So end
I
of
know
summer going into fall.
It was the end of summer. That's probably after my overseed was bouncing back. Yeah. But my neighbor to the right this year, she actually, like, I talked to them a lot. They're like, yeah, we literally like felt embarrassed. And so their lawn looks really, really good this year. They watered
That's
a lot. They, fertilized and kept it mowed real good. And their lawn
They did
actually
themselves.
no, they have a company come spray it, but she's like, every time a True Green comes, we find more crabgrass. So she's like, I don't know what the heck's going on. So, but yeah, but like I said, they kept up watering it all summer, and it looks really good. Like I said, they turned it around. They killed off a ton of weeds and that they had in the yard, and it looks much, much better. That's a big property because it's on the corner. But
yeah, they have a good canvas to work with if they
Yeah.
wanted to.
that'd be the
Double
same time
doubles.
frame. That's like last fall, probably.
Man,
a year
I'd
ago.
have to run them straight to the road.
I do sometimes, but
Those
the
curves are
problem
so
is-
hard. That's like you got that 90-degree angle curve
bounce
like
off
I
that
do.
curb and fucking
Yeah.
Problem,
pop a
I have an
fucking-
actual curb, and so and then you got your striping, kit on the back of it. So really, there's not a lot of room to turn around, and you don't want to drop the mower off the back at all. But the biggest thing, and that's like I said, and it's 4 equal passes when I do it the other way. So, I mean, honestly, like 99% of the time, I just do it that way. But there are sometimes I do it the other way.
Maybe you can get those like bag toss boards and
Ramps.
put those up against the thing, and you can go up and down that and just slide them over each pass.
I've done it. It's just like anything. Like the longer you can pull your stripe, if you run a stripe kit and you have a ton of like turning around and doing all that, it
Doesn't look good.
Yeah, it just doesn't look as dominant. So, but
It is crazy. Your hill is a little beat up there compared to some of the other pictures.
yeah. Well, like I said, I mean,
That has to be that ride jumping.
I mean, that's not. I mean, I don't water my hill, so I mean, you can tell where my sprinklers are hitting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
But yeah, I mean, you can say that's the difference between where I, apply and water and everything, and then the hill, obviously I don't. So I usually go up to that first tree. It's kind of where I try to go to with everything. But
Yeah, it almost looks painted, like saying that as a
Yeah.
compliment. Like
It's
that's
like they quit, like, oh, the photo or the painting was almost done, but you guys gave up there at the end.
Yeah. Like sometimes that was last year.
Yeah, that's a good shot. You have some good drone shots there.
Yeah, and you can see how thick that those trees are there because like
Yeah.
your steps are just right there.
Yep.
And then yeah, you can't even see because of the canopy right there.
Yep. Yeah, so you can't. And behind the tree,
Yeah,
the trees are
if-
only they're not much wider than that picture. And then like I said, the golf course is on the other side.
From
So,
this
like,
angle, the
anybody
hill
else-
doesn't look steep.
Is anybody else on your lawn or your street? Or, I mean, anybody else in your street or your neighborhood stripe?
Not like mine. But there's there's a neighbor way off to the right, and he keeps he has irrigation. He keeps his lawn looking good. But he doesn't have like dominant stripes or anything. And there's a couple guys down in a cul-de-sac that live down around the corner. He's got a riding mower and he stripes his. So, but for the most part,
I'm always
I-
looking at my competition down
Yeah.
the road.
Mhm.
I've actually a couple of my neighbors, like we actually overseeded with 365, and he texted me like literally last week, and he's like, "Man," he's like, "Oh, I can't say thank you enough." He's like, "My lawn looks so awesome," and from my house I can see his front yard, and you can tell like his is solid. Like it looks good. But we bought a pallet of Propete, this spring. He's basically he basically said like, here's X amount of dollars, you buy whatever I need and tell me when to put it down and I'll just do whatever. And so like we ended up buying, like I said, half pallet of Propete, and bought some root hume and stuff like that, and he just put them down kind of at the same frequency I was. And then I've been playing around with some other stuff this fall, and so I kind of told him we got some other stuff we can work on next year. But he's pumped up. He's just a lot busier. He's always on the road and he's a lot busier than I am. So I'll be like, hey, like you should get something down the next week. And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, oh, I haven't got it down yet. I'm so busy. And I'm like, yeah, kind of got to keep on a schedule here. So, but
Yeah, once you mow a nice lawn, it's like it's different. It changes the
Yeah.
game, like once you get
Yeah.
you get that looking good and green and you mow it, it's like an addiction. It's like, oh shit, here we
yeah,
go.
for sure. I mean, and it's weird because like like Olee, you've talked about it. It's like every year there's something. So when I first moved in, go back to that picture. So when I first moved in, on the right side, so the right side of my house is the north, and so on the right side you see that little dark patch on the side of the house. That's like my fire pit, my fireplace, and all along there up to that egress window, and then all that got heavy oh, what the hell is it, the like dusty, the gray dusty like mold.
Mildew.
Yeah, powdery mildew.
Mm.
It got it got powdery mildew real bad because right now, like this time of year, it rarely sees any sun. And so because when the sun comes up and goes down, like there's very little, so I gotta be careful when I water the north side of my house, because there's places that don't ever dry out. Like it'll rain and the next day, like it's still completely wet from never hitting the sun. So I got to be very, very, very careful when I run my sprinklers over there with just timing and how I do it and whatnot.
What would you say your biggest problem is in maintaining your lawn? What's some of the biggest obstacles you've had to encounter?
So this year,
Delivery
definitely,
guys.
yeah. Well, like delivery guy, because what happens is like down there at the bottom of the picture by the light pole, that's where the mailbox is for like, I don't know, probably 10 different houses.
Oh yeah.
That's not just ours. That's like, the whole neighborhood's mailbox. And so they pull up there, and then if I have a package, they just run through my yard to drop it off is what they do.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But
'cause they just
no,
kinda
I mean,
run straight through. Yeah.
yeah, but
'cause your
I would
lawn's
say
so
this
inviting.
year, yeah, I would say this year, my biggest challenge is honestly, it's weed pressure from the backyard and the hill coming into the backyard. That's probably the biggest thing I've been fighting and noticing this year is worse than the last 2 years.
I know I'm bouncing around here, but how do you know where your property line is when you're mowing it?
I mean,
Because like that's a straight shot, dude. Keep them
Yeah.
straight.
I
Boom.
mean, it's
Like
from
how do you know where you're mowing? Like do you have a flag or a marker?
no. So right now, I mean, it's you can just stand there and see it, but I mean, it's not to be rude, but on the very very left side, you got the fire hydrant right there, and then so basically from there, and then that tree, the little tree in the back left is mine, and then kind of back to the corner, and my hill
That's
is
a random tree. That's
Yeah. But the other thing, like I've said, is like my hill's cleared out and I mow it, whereas the other ones aren't. So you can kind of see, I mean, you can kind of tell, but like it's overgrown. And so literally, like, I mean, I could take a picture and it'd be much more obvious, but I mean, literally it's the difference of something that's 6 foot tall versus my yard. You know what I mean?
So you're just looking for that as you're going down.
Well, I mean,
Trying
right.
to
I mean,
use
the
a measure point.
stripes are pretty much
They're
set.
already
I mean,
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know where
just-
it's at by now.
yeah. And on the right side, like I said, you got the boxes down there at the bottom, but then same thing, like on the hill, if you stand at the sidewalk and look up, you can see like the difference between the two lots.
So I can't tell. So you're saying that the lines aren't perfectly parallel because in the back, eventually they'll meet up in the center, you said, but it doesn't, you can't even tell from this shot. Well, I guess I can. I can see it over there by your that little white, if that's a fireplace or what, but I can see where the angles change.
Yeah, so that's the top of the swing set before. But yeah, you can kind of see if you look at it like that, you can see the angles. But I always met at the swing set.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never even noticed it or whatever. But I mean I did in a way, but then when I took it out and I mowed like the first time, I'm like, holy shit, like like I said, you had like this and then you had like this. It's like, like they're not even perpendicular at all. But yeah, and like I said,
Like
looking at it.
I'll see you fertilize with a hose end sprayer sometimes.
Yep.
So are you walking the hose all across that property line, like straight? Like are you just like holding the hose straight up with that pattern, that fan pattern, and just going across the whole thing, or how are you doing that?
So I have 2 spigots on the outside of my house. One right there by the fire on the north side of my house. There's one right there by that little eave spout, and then on the back side, where you can't see, back there's another one. So I'll run the front right, the whole like right side all the way on one, and then I'll disconnect the hose, drag it over to the other side, and then do the other half. I have like 100-foot hose.
Right down the property line. You'll just like go one shot.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then like I said, I use liquids and granular.
Then edge guard when you do granular.
Actually, I don't, surprisingly.
So you just like you come off with a couple.
No, I mean, I got it really figured out like this. So I will literally mow stripes, and then I know like my spreader is 3 stripes wide, and so then I'll go right down the one
That's
stripe.
actually
And
what
I
I
know
just determined the other day.
that yeah, I kind of figured out how wide my pattern is and go from there.
That's pretty cool.
But
so
yeah, I mean,
what else we got here?
it's kind of it's been fun to get into it more and more, and now I've actually had a couple neighbors reach out this fall and saying like, hey, like our lawn's not looking good, can you help us? So it's kind of a cool feeling to know that that A, they recognize that it's a good looking yard, and that B, that like, hey, like maybe he'll help us and whatnot. So actually I had a guy come down last night at like 8:30 and borrow my Sun Joe. I let him have it and go. He's going to dethatch his yard and hopefully get some seed down as soon as possible. Actually, they're talking like 35 degrees tomorrow morning. So
What?
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it was like 40, 44 this morning. They're talking 30s tomorrow. So it's like perfect weather. I mean, 70s for the highs. getting down to the 50s for the low. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year for weather. I mean, it's, in the evenings, sit out back, the fire pit, grass is loving it. You don't have to water, nice and green. So
It's getting down to 47 tonight. I'm looking at mine right now.
yeah. Spreader. So someone asked, what spreader are you using? So actually now I have a spiker spreader that I won last year at GIE out of a random drawing. We were sitting there and put my name in the draw box and took home actually shipped it to me. But took home a nice spiker spreader. But I actually have like a real $10 like Goodwill. My dad bought it for me when I had my first house. One of the Scott's ones. And that was actually where I first started all my stickers. And I started putting stickers on my Scott spreader. And that quickly filled up. And then after that, I started my Toro banner in my garage. But yeah, I still have that Scott spreader. I've actually loaned that out to some friends, because you get those friends like, what should I do? I'm like, here, like, go buy this bag of this and I'll drop my spreader off and just use it and bring it back when you're done. What I've learned is half of it's just, people would do it themselves, but they just want to know, like, what do I buy and when do I put it down? And if you can provide that, they're willing to kind of do it and take over.
Yeah, it's like a confidence thing. You got to realize, just go for it. And
well, that's how it was with
some people don't understand like the square footage thing, like how big is your lawn? This bag says it covers this. Some people just think, oh, I'm just gonna put it on the setting and spread it until it's gone.
That's how my last house, I was still to that knowledge at that point. You know what I mean? When I was, I was just like, I would just go buy a bag and I would just put down the whole bag. And I had no concept of the square footage it covered, the rates you're putting down. I had no concepts of any of that. It was just one of those things. It was like, well, I know I'm supposed to buy this and put it down in the spring, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I had no idea. I mean, whether it was a 5,000 square foot bag or a 15,000 square foot bag, I was just putting the whole bag down, fill it up and run it back and forth until it's gone, and then put it back in the garage. So, but
that's how I started. You throw her down, you get some Milorganite and just throw her down, and this looks like about my yard. I kind of think it's about this big. Let's grab a few bags, and if I do too much, oh well, and that's your starting point. You dip your toes, you see some results, and then you kind of like, okay, now let's get more serious and start measuring and getting more accurate with stuff. But yeah.
Well, that's like I was very, very gun shy for like a backpack sprayer. I had fear confidence of doing the simple on with the hose in sprayer because I knew how much that covered, and I kind of, when I first kind of sectioned out my lawn, I knew, okay, this area is 3,000. This is, I kind of know what to cover, so I knew spraying it that way. But the backpack, I was always so scared because everyone's like, oh, you got to calibrate it, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and everyone's like upgrading all the nozzles and doing all that, and I'm just like, man, I don't even know if I want to get into this stuff. So then I was kind of just like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna try it. And then, like I said, I busted out the Petra and started doing it, and honestly, like, I just started doing it, and what I measured and what I walked off, like, oh, okay, it must have been the right pace because I ran out where I thought I should run out, and then refilled it, and it all worked out perfectly. So I'm like, okay, so now this fall, that's what I've been doing, like every 2 weeks. I would be doing it every week. That's what I want to do, but I haven't been doing it every week because my mower's been broke. I don't want to feel like a complete jerk borrowing my neighbors all the time, but I've been spraying AMS on it like every Friday.
Your mower's been broke?
Yeah, for like several weeks now. So I broke a belt. Let's see, what did I break? Oh, I broke a belt, and then I finally got that replaced, and then broken my sink belt that runs your blades. That snapped, and a pulley snapped, and then my blades, when that belt broke, my blades crashed, and I couldn't sharpen out of that, so I had to buy new blades, new pulley, new belt. And then Saturday, I could not get like the nut off of the pulley, Because whoever designed
Get the nut off.
no, whoever designed the
That's what she said.
whoever designed like the Time Master, there's like a post. There you go. There's a post right beside the pulley, and you cannot get the belt in there. Like there's not enough room, and so you literally have to take this whole like sprocket off and all that. And we were trying to get it off, and I was defeated, and I was sitting there like contemplating how much I hated life because I couldn't mow and I couldn't get this part off, and it was like, sunny Saturday, and all I want to do is get it fixed and mow. And so his neighbors over helping me or whatever, and we're jacking around with it, and we're trying to get like a pin in there to stop the sprocket from moving because your blades are free flowing at this point. And so I bent 2 screwdrivers, trying to like enough force to try and get that nut off. I bent 2 screwdrivers, an Allen wrench. I'd used a torch. I'd used penetration oil, trying to get that nut off. And finally, we ended up finally getting it. But in the meantime, we were trying to find something, like a pin that wouldn't break. And when we were hammering like this dowel into the sprocket, it cracked the sprocket and broke the sprocket. So now a new sprocket is supposed to be here, I think Thursday. So then once I get that, I can put the sprocket back on, get the belt on, get the pulley back on, get everything back going. So
what have you been mowing with?
So my neighbor, the one that came over and helped me, he's got a Time Master. And so
Okay.
and he could care less about his lawn. and so I've used it quite a bit. Like every time I broke a belt or something like that, it's always mid mow. So I'll call him, be like, hey,
Sure.
can I grab it real quick and finish my yard? And then I mow every, like right now I could probably mow every 3rd day. I mean, it's growing that quick. And so, but I don't want to, I try not to, so but I just borrow it when I can, and that way it keeps the same pattern with everything I'm mowing. So
That's cool. He's got the same size deck.
Yeah. So like I said, yeah.
Hell
Hopefully,
yeah,
when
man.
the blades connected with each other, it didn't hurt any bearings or anything in that nature.
Yeah, it was loud. So I mean,
That'd be
Hey, hell.
something if it did. And now when you mow, you got issues with the blades being level.
I don't think so, because at that point the belt broke, and so they should have just been like free flowing, so they should have hit without anything holding it. I mean, they should have been able to hit and just, there's nothing.
Yeah, but when they do hit, they push.
Yeah.
So hopefully you didn't hurt anything in the spindles.
I hope not.
Especially since you couldn't get that nut off with that rod.
I could not get that nut off. I was trying so
With
hard.
that rod.
That curvy rod. God darn it.
He's got that straight rod.
Lawn Freedom asked, do you put your stripe kit on his mower? I actually did, yes.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
When I just used it here, I used it Sunday, and I did not, because I literally just ran over, grabbed it, mowed real quick, and took it back. But last week, I mowed like 2 or 3 times with it. I had actually put my stripe kit on it to do it. So.
And you have the Checkmate stripe kit?
I have that and the lawn striper. I have both.
Oh, okay.
And I sometimes go back and forth.
It gets better.
Kind of depends. You know what I mean?
So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the 2 pros and cons? Do you, are there differences that you would point out for somebody?
Yeah. The Checkmate's a lot more rigid as far as, it's a lot more secure on it. I feel like it doesn't, it's more, if you want a perfectly straight stripe, I feel like it's a little bit better because it's not as free flowing.
What is the Checkmate one? Is that
Checkmate's the big lawn or the big league?
Big league lawns.
Okay. Yeah.
The big boat rollers.
Is it heavier? Does it feel heavier?
No, they're about the same. Once you get the sand in the lawn striper, they're about the same.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that the lawn striper you can just take right off. So I love that part of it. The major thing for me, maybe now that I don't have my swing set. So when I was doing my swing set, I was when I'd go around it, there was spots where I had I would go underneath like the swing and then back up and stuff like that. And so I was constantly going in reverse, and it like kind of jackknifes a little bit. And so that was probably my biggest thing I didn't like about it. But now that I don't have that and I don't go in reverse at all, it may be a better system, because then I can just take it off and do the hill. But
Yeah, I like that about the lawn striper, is how easy it is, because I'll do all my perimeter passes, go around the tree and the mulch beds and stuff, and then I'll put it on and start striping, and so it's nice to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both really, really good, lawn stripers. Just kind of whichever one you prefer. I think they both stripe very, very well. There's not a huge, I can't notice a difference between stripes using one or the other.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just kind of depends on what fits your mower. I know, like I said, now with the lawn striper, they have all the electric attachments for, majority of the mowers out there now with their Gen 3. So I think for the most part, that'd probably be a better choice for a lot of the newer mowers. But yeah, they're both good.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it was great to learn more about the bush light cheater.
Man, I wish you had that video up.
Oh,
What you drinking? What you drinking there, Nate? I don't know. Whatever he bought me.
no, it's because we're at that
In your
brewery.
defense, I remember you were like, we got to this bar and it's like a nice local, like, oh, we got our own brewery shit. Like in the background, you're like, you guys got Busch Light? I remember you fucking just slaying it. And then they were like, no, we don't have Busch Light. So like you have to settle. You did have to settle for
on
whatever
their
it
craft
was.
Yeah, it was that. I remember it was that waitress. Remember we were kind of giving her a hard time about it. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that, but yeah. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, you get out of the Midwest, there's a lot of places that don't carry it, and so you just gotta drink what you gotta drink. But if they have it, that's what I'm drinking. It's my drink of choice,
Yeah, that's good shit.
right, Olee?
Yes, sir.
So
I'll drink them if you buy them, or if somebody else does.
well, about 3 weeks, boys. We drink some Busch Lights together.
Hell yeah.
Well,
So
definitely.
GIE. Anyone in the chat going? If you're going, we'll drink some Busch Lights together. You can buy me one. I'll buy you one. Go from there. Tall boys. But
Then monsters and vodka at the end of the night.
that is good too. That is good. Delicious. Yep.
Yeah, the Monster is definitely way better than Red Bull for sure.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Monster
Me
and vodka?
and my buddy asked for a Red Bull and vodka, and they only had Monster, so we did Monster and vodka. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, remember that's all we had in the. at
Yeah,
dinner.
that's so. Yeah, that's what
Oh.
Andrew got. That's what Andrew got. In the booth.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, boys.
Yep. It's about that time.
Thanks everybody.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Sign
We'll
off.
see you next week.
If anyone needs a sticker, I actually got some new stickers. Yeah, I got a whole stash. So if anyone has never got my sticker with my logo, hit me up on Instagram and I will fire one off to you. So
Hell
Keep
yeah.
them curvy.
keep it curvy.
Keep 'em curvy.
Let's go.
Appreciate it.